Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, Chris,
I
what's
was
up?
one, not much, man. I was wondering, how much do you want to cross train your guys, and how is it different than having a normal spring and being able to do more of that back then compared to trying to fit it in the preseason?
Well, you have to, even if you look at NFL rosters, they don't carry that many active that have guys that can play multiple positions. And also being able to keep the best players out there regardless of the position. So we got some guys going guard tackle, center forward, just to be able to always give the best guys the chance for us to be successful on the field, and not just saying, hey, the right tackle down, you put up whoever is the right tackle on the depth chart, you put the next best football player in the game.
That's to be Irish from Warchant.
Hey, Coach.
Alex,
How you doing?
good brother.
Hey, how are the guys able to come together during the quarantine? I mean, I imagine you guys were constantly in contact, Zoom meetings, even though they weren't necessarily personally all together. Um, physically. Did you feel like that time was a time to build some bonds? Even so.
Well, yeah, our guys have gotten really close knit. I believe that just because for a while there, when they came back and needed to volunteer to work out together, and we had all the Zoom meetings, that's all they really were around. And not being around the normal students on campus, and some of them couldn't go home because of the virus and the impact and things like that. So I believe, the continuity and relationship off the field is just as important on the field, and I believe they've done a good job.
Hey, how's it going, Coach? We've heard a lot about the Zoom, and you kind of had to do a lot of concept teaching over Zoom during all this just because of the separation of everybody. I guess, how have you seen that in the time since everybody's kind of been back together translate to on the field?
You kind of went in and out. Can you ask that one more time? I couldn't really hear you.
We've heard a lot. Sorry, we've heard a lot about the concept training with Coach Norvell's offense that you kind of do with the guys over Zoom just because everyone was apart in the offseason. How have you seen that translate and the retention of that translate and kind of since you've gotten them back on the field?
Coach Norvell does a good job of the whole offense, in the team, seeing the big picture. And not just, running plays or just to run plays for the why, but to learn the why you run the play or the why situational awareness. So it gave us time to really explain those things in detail, which usually you kind of do in camp or you do in situational in the spring, but we had to do it more through just, all right, this is why we're calling this play. This is why we're looking at the change. This is why we're teaching red zone, and more just explaining, almost like coach training. When you have young coaches and explaining the reasons why you do what you do. I think that did help.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Hey, Brennan.
I had a follow-up question about the cross training. You mentioned moving guys around and kind of seeing where they fit. Is it big for them to get the experience of playing different positions in case someone goes down the road, or is it equally important for you as a coach to evaluate guys at multiple spots to see what they can do?
It goes hand in hand. The foundation of it is to make sure you get as deep as possible with the best players you can put on the field. As far as ability-wise, it's very similar. Of course, the play is different if you're playing left guard or right tackle. It could be like a different world, but the footwork, the hands, the striking, the vision, all that's pretty similar. It's more of making sure you're putting the best players on the field to be able to have success, and understanding that you got to put those guys in those situations so they can see it. So if he's only played left tackle the whole camp, and then you put him at left guard, that'll be foreign to him. So you have to give them those reps if you're going to use them in those roles.
Hey, Coach, how's it going? Hey, I want to ask you about a couple of your players. Transfer Devontae Love-Taylor. How quickly has he picked things up? How's he looking? Then also, I know Dante Lucas, I also want to ask you about because he's coming off the injury. How's he fit?
A lot more about those guys, here when we put these pads on. But as far as picking it up, he's done a phenomenal job. He's very smart. He's savvy. He has a kind of a charisma on the field that allows him to get stuff done. And I enjoy watching his mind pick it up. It'll be more interesting to see once we get the pads on, physicality, and kind of applying it to playing, real football type competition drills and get a true evaluation. But they've done a nice job. And same with Dante Lucas, coming off the injury. And I think he's ready to go, fired up. He's been doing a good job mentally also.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Up there.
Yeah, not much. So basically, in similar vein of what Kurt was asking, you all did a lot of stuff over Zoom, and one thing that the whole coaching staff I've heard has emphasized is technique. How did you do that with an offensive lineman over Zoom? Are you making a bend and snap like over video? You critiquing them that way?
No, we weren't allowed to do that. But what I did was we had fundamental focus, which I thought was beneficial, where you took one thing, whether it be jump sets, whether it be, flash sets, whether it be down blocks, and you really broke it down to the T or the finer points of it and gave examples, showed, NFL players doing it, and just showed many examples of the why. It really goes back to the why the fundamental is important. You can repetitively do a drill. I can take anybody out there and do a drill, but they have to know why they're doing it and when to apply it. So I was able to teach them the why and apply, because most of the time you get a young guy and you do a drill, you do what you tell them to do. I was able to teach them the why.
Go back to Kirk.
You've got three guys who probably have a legitimate claim to the center spot kind of at the start of camp in Andrew, Bavion, and Maurice. I guess what have each of those guys shown you, and how do you kind of divide reps when you've got that many guys who could probably all realistically play that position?
Well, all three guys, we're still continuing to evaluate, just like anything else. We'll really tell a lot here coming up with the practices in the future. But the things I like about the guys, they're all pushing each other. They're very close in the race. The first thing is going to come back to accurate snaps. Who can get the ball back there accurately, which much done under some stuff as we do. The snaps have to be accurate, and also who can process the offense and process the information more quickly. I think as we get into the offense, as we get more detailed into it, time will tell who handles that best, because the center position is important, because he's the one guy on the field that can talk to both sides.
That should be interesting for most people.
Coach praised Thomas Shrader. Just what has stood out about him since he got on campus?
This is approach. He took it upon himself to really study the information that was given to him. The strongest thing in the world is a made-up mind. He has his mind made up where he's going to approach every day to attempt to get better, and he's really shown that through his action. And if he continues, of course, we haven't put on the shoulder pad yet, so it sounds good right now. But I love his approach and how he's attacked the information and how well he's doing. He's also a guy that's played multiple positions, so even as a young guy, it's hard, and he's able to process that information. That's been promising.
Hey, Coach, hope everything's going well. Obviously, it was an unusual offseason for you guys. Were you happy with the way the guys came back in and reported for camp? And we had seen some physical development changes in some guys during the spring, gaining weight or losing weight. Did you continue to see that as they reported back in the summer for fall camp, and did anybody stand out?
Yeah, it was unprecedented, especially with O-linemen, even myself. I like to eat a little bit more when I'm at home also. So we did have some guys that did a really good job, and what I was really impressed is that when we all got back here and we got to work, I wasn't down on anybody. There was no negative, like, oh, this guy did this bad or this. It was more of a let's get back into action and get back into football playing shape, which comes over time and repetition and experience. But guys that have really, that really have shown, took care of their body, we'll see. I want to wait and see how the performance is to match that. But in the future, I will, drop some names of some guys I think have really done a good job once we kind of, see the results.
Go back to Ira.
Hey, Coach, Darius is a guy that I don't know how much you guys were able to see of him earlier in the year, because I know he was recovering from an injury. Have you been able to – I know pads aren't on yet, but have you gotten a sense for his athleticism, even in what you guys have been able to do so far?
He's very athletic. He's a guy that can pick his feet up off the ground pretty quickly, change direction, running out. I saw that in a couple of not the MAC drills, but the workouts where you get to see him running and changing direction and things like that. So I've been very impressed with his movements. It's just building back up his strength, coming off shoulder surgery and things like that. But he's 100% ready to go. So I'm eager to see, because I even seen his athleticism displayed in these last two practices. He can move, run, things like that. It's just really seeing if he can put the physical part to it. But as an athlete, I can believe he can be an elite athlete.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
No problem. Thank y'all.